I think that was Alex Chasen who was showing up a minute ago.
I think so. We've got, so Alex and Danielle, Diana, Ian, Jim, it looks like all of you are on. Welcome. We'll start going here in a minute. I'm just really excited to be able to do this. Like I was telling some of them, to be able to do it virtually. Hopefully we'll do it in person next year. But first of all, just thank you to everyone for being a part of Pulse and for such an incredible investment that you're making in Overlake and a huge impact by being a part of Pitch Night. I think it'd be great to go around and introduce ourselves really quickly, and then just share something that you're looking forward to in 2022. So Alex, I'll pick on you, Alex Chasen. How about you lead us off and introduce yourself and tell us what you're looking forward to.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Alex Chasen. I've been with Pulse now 2 years, 3 years. I don't know. Alex knows better. Let's see. What am I looking forward to for 2022? No more COVID. That would be nice. Traveling.
Yeah, traveling. My sister lives down in Houston, and we haven't gotten down to visit her. I've only met my nephew, who's now 1.5 years old, once. So I second that. Can't wait to get back to traveling. How about Danielle? How about you go next?
Hi, everyone. Danielle Donovan. Also been with Pulse for, I think it's been a couple years. They're just kind of flying by. Also looking forward to no COVID in 2022 because I'm planning a wedding. So hopefully that goes well.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks.
Diana and Kyle.
Hello. I think that we also have technically been with Pulse now for a couple of years, but unfortunately we started right before the pandemic, so we haven't had a chance to interact with everyone as much. We are newly pregnant, so we're excited for our baby this year, due on April 25th. And Alex has already shared a lot of wisdom with us, so about what to expect.
I don't know how much wisdom. I mean, we do have a NICU nurse. We have the director of Women's and Infant Services on tonight. We have, I just have my limited experience with, an almost 2-year-old. So I don't know how great I am, but I'm glad I've been able to share a little bit.
No better than us, for sure. And then, of course, we're with Accelerated Collection Service and have partnered with Overlake for many, many years. So that's us.
Very nice. Welcome. Thank you for coming. How about Aaron?
Yes, my name's Aaron Guerin. I actually just I'm switching jobs at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to another startup, and what I'm looking forward to this year is no more COVID, and I'm also getting married this year. So wedding planning in the midst of COVID is a headache, and but looking forward for COVID to be over.
Well, congratulations on the coming wedding.
Thank you, Alex.
Ben Liu.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, Ben.
Sorry, I was having some audio trouble, so I kept joining and rejoining, and finally rebooted, and it fixed everything.
No problem. What are you looking forward to in 2022, Ben?
Oh, less COVID.
The sentiment of the hour, yeah.
I think there's a theme.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, anything but the last 2 years.
Yeah. Ian White, how about you?
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Sweet. I hate to be so unoriginal, but I I too am getting married in 20 days up in Canada. It's been like a year and a half in the making, so real pumped to get that done and over with.
Yeah, wow, congratulations. For those of you who don't know, Dr. White, he's one of our amazing colorectal surgeons here at Overlake. And you've been with us for what, 4 years now? I think you've been here about as long as I have.
Yeah, it feels like a hot minute, but yeah, it's been almost 3 years now.
Wow. Welcome. Well, cool. And congratulations, 20 days. That's coming fast. So I'm sure that you're not stressed at all.
Yeah, 20 days, 19 hours, 3 minutes, not that but not stressed at all.
Yeah. Jim Gregson, how about you, Mr. Gregson?
Hey everybody, I'm Jim. I've been lurking around Pulse for a while now. In fact, I got too old and cranky for Pulse, so I'm not officially a member anymore, but that is not going to stop me from looking forward to drinking 10 beers with y'all in 2022 in a time-honored Pulse tradition at the 520 Bar and Grill.
Woo!
That's what I'm looking forward to in 2022.
There we go. I like it.
I like it.
Rochelle Bouchon, how about you?
I'll take you on.
I'm laughing at Jim because we're part of the original Pulse. And I think it started with like in your 20s. And I think they kept raising the age limit. So we kept being members.
Yeah.
So I think we're still members, Jim. I'm pretty sure.
We're OPs.
If not, I'm going to pretend I'm young enough to be a member. So that's good. And then the thing I'm looking forward to the most in 2022 are a lot of you know Amy McKenna, who got married 2 years ago. We didn't have her bachelorette party because of COVID. She got married in 2020. So we're redoing it, just 3 of us. So we're doing Champagne, like literally flying to Champagne in April. So that's our girls trip for 2022.
Wow.
Nice.
That is a fun trip.
It is going to be a very fun trip.
That is impressive, is what that is.
Yes.
Champagne and Champagne.
Nice.
Yeah. Wow. And we can quickly kind of go through some of the staff that we have with us. And that includes some of our presenters who you'll be hearing from here in a few minutes. But Molly, why don't you start us off?
Well, just hello, everybody. I'm Molly Stearns with the foundation. I'm the Chief Development Officer here, and I'm excited to hear the presentations. I thank everybody, echo Alex's words of thanks and greetings. And I remember when Pulse was an idea and how it turned into more than that. And it's really been fun to see. So great. Thank you.
Awesome. How about Michelle Curry?
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Curry, and I'm the Chief Nursing Officer. And I also look forward to international travel. And I also look forward to not worrying about staffing morning, noon, and night.
Yeah. Tamara Cam.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Tamara. I'm the Director of Patient Experience and Volunteers here at Overlake. I've been with the organization for exactly 2 years and 1 month. And they've been 2 delightful years, even though everybody thinks I brought COVID with me. I did not. But it has been an interesting, wild ride. And obviously this year, like all of you, I think it's the human aspect of life that I look forward to, the connections, being with people that I have missed and loved. In particular, my daughter, hopefully, she says she is moving to Washington from North Carolina. So that will be the highlight of my year. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. How about Melissa Ramirez?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Melissa Ramirez. I'm the Nicu manager here at Overlake. I've been here for 3 years. I wish I could say that I'm looking forward to COVID being gone, but I'm not that optimistic for 2022. But I have a lot of things that I'm looking forward to. So like many of you, I'm looking forward to a new grandbaby that's due in June. And then my oldest son is getting married in August. And so we have a lot of a lot of great things. So I'm not going to let COVID keep me down this year.
That's great. Congratulations. David Winokur.
Hey there, I'm David. I'm the director for imaging and cardiovascular services. I think like most people, a little less COVID. I would love to be able to sneeze and not have everyone run away from me. I'd like to be able to touch an elevator button without having to like unroll my sleeve and things like that. So yeah, just the little things would be nice.
Yeah. Awesome. And Andrew Tokar.
Hey, Alex. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm Andrew Tokar, the Chief Financial Officer here at Overlake Hospital. Sit on the foundation board and just wanted to listen in on the presentations and lend my support to this great endeavor, the Pulse Network. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, I want to cheers to everyone. Everyone has their Mark Ryan Cabernet. I hope the deliveries got to you all. But again, thank you for making such an impact. I want to just a couple housekeeping details before we get started. While the presentations are going, if you want to just mute yourself, there's going to be time for questions at the end. And then you can also use the chat function to send in any questions that you have, and for the presenters after they're done. But Michelle introduced herself, but I'll reintroduce her before she says a few words. Michelle has more than 23 years of experience in the healthcare fields, 18 of which have been in management positions, including roles as Chief Operating Officer at Cascade Behavioral Health in Seattle and Director of Patient Care Services for Highline Medical Center, which I was born at in 1989. So it's a strong endorsement of Highline. Michelle holds an MBA from Western Governors University, a bachelor's degree in hospital administration and health information systems from the University of Phoenix, and an associate's degree in applied science in nursing from Central Arizona. So Michelle, I'll turn it over to you for a few minutes.
Great. Thank you, Alex. And again, everybody, welcome. I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for being here tonight. As you know, Overlake was founded 60 years ago by the community, for the community, and has sustained as an independent nonprofit hospital because of the generosity of our Eastside community, and you especially, as the next generation of donors for the Eastside. Philanthropy accounts for over 10% of Overlake's annual operating income and helps to accelerate innovative technologies and programs to be introduced at the hospital. By being a part of Pulse and investing in one of these 3 projects you will hear about tonight, you are directly and positively impacting patient care for our community. From all of our executive team at Overlake, we want to thank you for leading the way into the future for Overlake, and I'm very grateful. And again, I think there's a couple more of our teams on, Farah and Sandy Salmon. Farah won our last live Pulse, so you'll be hearing from her. So again, thank you and welcome, and we're very excited for tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle. Yeah, you are leading perfectly into my introduction for Farah Noor Mohammed and Annie Hollenhorst. Farah is the manager for inpatient rehabilitation services, and Annie is a speech language pathologist here at Overlake. They presented, as some of you remember, 2 years ago at the first pitch night, and had their project chosen and funded. They're here tonight to give a little update on the communication cards. So Farah and Annie, take it away.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Just want to say thank you. We're very, very appreciative of the funds. We've put it to good use, and I'm actually going to let Annie speak to it because she's kind of been the leader in this project and getting it started in the ICU. So I'm going to kind of let her her speak to the project. And feel free to ask any questions that you may have.
Yeah, definitely. I'm Annie. I presented to you guys a few years ago. It's good to see you again in a very different setting. So just to kind of remind you of what the project was, we proposed and have now implemented our communication cart. And the goal of the cart was to have kind of a wide variety of supplies to support communication for patients who are at risk of not being able to communicate effectively while they are in the hospital. Our goal was to come up with kind of alternative communication tools, iPads, communication boards, hearing assistance, and things like that. And the timing of it was actually kind of wild because our ICU became kind of just way more full of patients who were on prolonged intubation and ventilation, even moving into prolonged tracheostomies and things of that nature. So even prior to this, we may have had a few patients who would have benefited from it, but since COVID, I mean, it's grown to be a large number of patients who need this type of assistance. So in some ways, it was a timely project. But anyways, I'll just kind of go over what we've bought with the money. So to start with, maybe these first. Yeah, so these are our communication boards. This is a picture board version of it, and I'll bring it kind of as close as I can. It kind of just has different kind of categories of things that a patient who is intubated or maybe not intubated but unable to speak for whatever reason may need to communicate to their nurse or their family or their provider. We have wants, we have kind of feelings and what's going on. I'm choking, I'm in pain, I'm hot, I'm tired. Pain levels, super important and hard to communicate. And then kind of these questions like, how am I doing? What's happening to me? When's the tube gonna come out? Things like that are so important. The pictures are really great. We love them. They're colorful and they're happy, and it's a really big board, so it's been a really great tool. I've introduced them personally to some patients, but the nurses have really been taking these and giving them to any patients that's needed them. I've just been letting them fly around the ICU, and they've been moving, and they've been doing really well. So on top of that, we also have, we have a foreign language board. We have them in, what, like, I think 4 languages? No, we have them in like 10 languages. We have a lot of languages. We have a lot of languages. So these boards have similar information on them, but there's a translation. So if for this one, like, you know, it kind of is the same categories as the picture board, but the patient can point to, like, something is aching, and then while they're pointing to it, there's a translation there. So they're pointing in their language, but the nurse can read it in English. And so that's just to reach patients who can't be served by a translator or an interpreter.
Yeah. Some of the languages we've had are Russian, Chinese, Hindi, Farsi,
Spanish. We have them in Vietnamese,
yeah.
Japanese.
That's
the
right,
Russian
yeah.
ones have been the most common that we've used, and I've had people from all departments come to me. Where did you get that communication board for that one patient? I really like a foreign language board, so that's been probably the most requested.
Agreed, yeah.
Of the items. Any questions about those before I move on? Okay. We also have purchased a lot of, these are like amplifiers. So they're like a headset with an amplifier on them. Most of the floors are stocked with these anyways, but we wanted to have an extra supply to reach patients who, you know, maybe if we were out of them on the floor, if there were too many patients that needed them, we wanted to have extras for them. But this just helps if somebody doesn't have their hearing aids. Being able to hear makes a really big difference. We've got magnifying glasses. So if somebody has a hard time seeing and they still want to use a communication board, or they want to read the paper or whatever it is, they can use this in place of glasses. And then, before I move to the iPad,
No, I think that's it.
Yes,
Yes,
that's it. Yeah.
So finally, you have our iPad.
Yay! They're so pretty. So I'm just going to show you. So this is a communication board on the iPad, and I still have a goal of getting this on more iPads because we do have a lot of iPads in this hospital, and so my long-term goal would be for every patient iPad to potentially have something like this on it. Right now we have it on a few prototypes, but basically it's the same thing. So if the patient is wanting to tell someone how they're feeling, they can go to the I am tab, and then they can.
I feel worse. I am anxious.
You can also change the voice. There's a couple options.
When is the tube coming out?
I don't know if you guys can hear that. Are you able to hear it okay? They can also draw if they're capable of doing that. So it has an option if there's an option that's not on there and they want to write or draw what they're trying to say or communicate to someone, then that's another option available to them. And then again, we have our pain scales, which are so important. And then on top of that, on the iPads, we've installed several apps that are really, really helpful for therapy. So these apps that we can actually use with patients when we're working with them and training them, those are super, super cool. And we have about 5 different ones that we're working with right now. Yeah,
so that's all in a nutshell.
That's what we've done. And we're excited for where it's going to go.
Awesome. Yeah. Ben, it looks like you have a question.
Yeah. If you guys have some ideas around other software that you want for those iPads, talk to me. And I've talked to Scott Waters actually last month, and we'd love to volunteer some of our developers' time to help. I have a development company with about 100 devs in Vietnam, and so if you guys have any ideas for things that you want on that, and we're volunteering. I've been talking to Scott about any ideas that he has and things like that might be able to help. So yeah, would love to hear any ideas that you guys might have, any apps that you feel that could be helpful and useful for some of those scenarios that you're talking about.
Thank you so much.
Wow, that's generous.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for Farah and Annie? Awesome. Well, thank you, Farah and Annie, for giving a little update. It's such a special and impactful initiative. I'm glad and really happy that Pulse was able to fund it a couple years ago. Thanks for sharing, and now we're going to proceed with tonight's presentations. The first is going to be from David Winokur. David is the Director of Medical Imaging and Cardiovascular Services here at Overlake. And let me pull up the presentation. Please forgive me. Ben is a developer and very technical, and I, as you will come to find out, am not as technical, and so please forgive me if I am not as good at it. Okay.
You're doing perfectly so
David.
far.
There we go.
Excellent. So, coming from the cath lab and imaging, I'm pretty fortunate to have a lot of technology in my department. Things that can keep your heart functioning artificially. We can fill a 1 millimeter hole in the furthest reaches of your brain. So when I met with my team to talk about, where our biggest needs, everyone very quickly said, well, it was around safety in our ultrasound department. And it was around a piece of equipment that we use that I'll teach you about in a moment on how we can keep our ultrasound probes clean. Those of you who have ever gotten an ultrasound, it is the most intimate thing that we do in our department. And with that, we go patient to patient. We see lots and lots of patients, lots and lots of new moms, lots and lots of folks with appendicitis, various things that we want to see with ultrasound. It's one of our few modalities that uses no radiation at all. So that's something that we like to use a frontline diagnostic tool. But with that said, the safety of our probes, since we are going from patient to patient, sterilization is crucial for us to ensure that we are not spreading any contagions throughout our patients. So the Trophon is a piece of technology. Oh, thank you, Al. You are right on it. This is like we rehearsed it. Fantastic. So it's an automated closed system. Previous to this technology, we would use a large deep sink with a ventilated hood, and we would use extremely caustic chemicals and then have to leave them to hang dry for 30 to 45 minutes. What the Trophon is it looks like this microwave that's on the table behind the sonographer here. You place the probe in it. There is a small canister of hydrogen peroxide, and you sort of set it and forget it for 15 minutes, and it sterilizes the probe, and it is ready to use right after one sterilization cycle. And there are no hazards or toxic side effects to staff. If you go to the next slide, for patient benefit, this one's obvious. So it is killing all sorts of nasty bugs that inevitably get on these probes. And so that way we are not transmitting any disease from patient to patient, keeping patients safe and not spreading infection. And we're not using the caustic chemicals that we did before, where if you did not do it properly, allow enough time to dry, those chemicals are still active on the probe itself. Next slide. Staff benefit, this is tremendous. So again, prior to the Trophon, like I said, we used a deep sink and a ventilated hood. But what you would worry about is the getting this on your skin, having it splash up on your eyes. And actually, even at Overlake, we did have 3 injuries previously, these are years ago, from these chemicals, from this way of sterilizing equipment. Because when you have your next patient in line, you are trying to balance doing the right thing, following the instructions, and staying on schedule. The nice thing about the Trophon is it is as automated as your washer at home. Again, it is 15 minutes, so you can build that time into your schedule to be efficient. It's the same amount of time it takes to register and then room a patient. So you can have a very linear workflow while using this. So again, you don't have to use any sort of manual test strips to make sure, is it clean, is it not? It does it for you. It actually spits out a little receipt on the side that lets you know that the probe is clean. It reduces the need to burn personal protective equipment, or PPE, which is probably worth more than gold at the hospital in this day and age. And then again, it is a very short automated cycle. So it saves about 7.5 hours of staff time per week. That ends up being that many more patient exams that we're able to do. So there is, there's patient safety benefits, staff safety benefit, and there's even kind of a nice financial benefit at the end where we're able to see more patients and provide better access as a result. Next slide. So that is all. Yeah, it is not the heart-saving, brain-saving, lung-saving machine, but I would argue that fundamentally to what we do, keeping our patients and our staff safe is probably the most important thing that we do. So while I love coming to the foundation with $5 million asks, these are pieces of equipment at $8,300 each. Are arguably some of the most important pieces that we have in our entire department. So I will pause for questions.
And feel free to use the chat as well if anyone has any questions for any of the presenters.
All right. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Danielle.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what's the lifespan of these machines like and the maintenance?
Yeah, great question. So with this, a maintenance contract is included. We have found that they last approximately, depending on the usage, about 5 to 10 years. There are actually pretty few parts within them, so they are very rarely needing maintenance. They tend to just go kaput at the end. So yeah, 5 to 10 year life cycle with as many scans as we do within the hospital, inpatient and outpatient. We're talking probably about 1,000 per month. I'd say getting 5 to 10 years out of this, pretty impressive. Good question though.
Diana and Kyle.
Yeah, my question is just, did you mention what departments this is going to impact?
Yeah, so this is purely for ultrasound transducer, so the probes that we use in and on patients. So the patients who come in for ultrasound are literally from every single department within the hospital. We get folks coming in from doc offices as outpatients, ER, inpatients, from just about every single clinic. Yeah, like I said, ultrasound, it's much safer in that it doesn't use radiation. It is frontline for everything OB, so it is an extremely popular modality for us.
Okay, so 4 machines will cover all the volume of the hospital then?
That is correct. Well, that'll cover every inpatient, every ED patient, and I would say about half of our outpatients.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for David? Awesome. Wow, that's it's a pretty cool and important project, obviously. Next presentation is going to be coming from Tamara Kam, who, as she said, is the Director of Patient Experience and Volunteers. So let me pull this. Oh, I was sharing the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I was sharing my email. I'm sorry. Here we go. Can y'all see this?
Perfect.
Okay. Awesome.
I don't think that's the first slide though, Alex. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much. Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for your time, your interest, your attention, and your support of Overlake, of course. I hate to have to follow David Winokur, but here we go. So, as the next generation of philanthropists, are you ready to invest in the next generation of nursing leaders? That is the question at hand. Next slide, please. So we are proposing that you invest in chief retention officers. These are our charge nurses. These are our brave frontline nurses who lead care that is delivered in all areas of the hospital where we have patients that stay with us. So why now? Why are we proposing this now? It goes without saying, if you listen to everyone's wish for 2022, it is that this horrid thing will go away. Well, this horrid thing of COVID has definitely transformed the healthcare landscape. And after nearly 2 years of crisis management, the challenges facing our nurses are unrelenting, including staffing shortages, workload increases, fatigue, and burnout. In November, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics released its monthly report when I was pulling together these slides, and they cited a record 4.5 million workers who quit or changed jobs. And the healthcare industry was among the top 3 industries hit by the Great Resignation. So as Overlake considers how to navigate these unprecedented waters, the ambition shouldn't be to get back to normal, The ambition should be to get back to better, a more sustainable environment for our staff with a focus on supporting those who deliver care to our patients, even in the most difficult circumstances. So why now? Because charge nurses play an integral role in our environment and the environment in which we have been providing care over these last 2 years through the thick and thin of it. And studies have shown, and you've heard this before, that people don't leave organizations, they leave leaders, right? Organizational loyalty is cemented through relationships with supervisors, managers, and frontline leaders, our charge nurses. And they are the key, and they can be the key to staff staying or leaving. And in fact, it's really interesting from a financial perspective, there can be very significant expensive costs associated with loss of nursing staff. The average turnover cost for a bedside nurse is $37,000 to $60,000, and it's more for specialty areas, the ED, ICU, L&D, OR, etc. So why now? Why ask now? Well, charge nurses play a key role in providing safe care, the onboarding of new nurses to the organization, coaching, patient experience, and nurse retention. And with the exodus of so many from this profession, now is the time to recognize their key role and invest in our charge nurse team. They can be our chief retention officers. Now, our charge nurses are already skilled leaders. That's why they're in these roles, but they do require additional tools and skills in order to adapt to the current, which we know is very demanding, and future, who knows, landscape. They require critical thinking, delegation, effective communication, conflict management, and leading through change. And boy, have we seen a lot of that over the last 2 years. Next slide, please. So how can charge nurses help with nurse retention? How can our charge nurses become our chief retention officers? Well, they fill in gaps. And our team may be understaffed at times. And of course, during COVID, understaffed has been more the norm. You heard our CNO's wish. It's that she doesn't have to, on a daily basis, struggle with staffing. And we all support her in that wish because it's energy that could be expended elsewhere and should normally, under different circumstances, be expended elsewhere. So when we're understaffed at critical levels, it means that our staff nurses are often behind on tasks, which slows down throughput. That's the patients coming through our ED, getting an inpatient bed. That's when we get backed up and we have to hold patients down in the ED for extended lengths of time. And that impacts patient satisfaction and even outcomes. So the charge nurse is a leader who fills in the gaps. They are administrators, quarterbacks. They motivate the team, whether it's normal times or COVID times. This type of leader keeps team morale on an even keel, which improves nurse retention. And on the flip side, an unprepared charge nurse can have the opposite effect. So charge nurses and all nurses, we want to stay calm in emergency situations. And you think of those signs that were famous in Britain, keep calm and carry on. Well, that's what our charge nurses can do for our nursing teams. Their role is especially important in keeping the calm on the units during really stressful times. They help promote resilience by keeping the shift organized and by dealing with issues in a very timely manner. So they ensure that other nurses can handle stressful situations properly, and that makes them a key to building a resilient team. Next page. Next slide, please. Thank you. So how can charge nurses help with nurse retention? Well, we need our charge nurses to be able to facilitate open communication and identify problems early and intervene. They need to be able to foster nurse communication and gather input for the organization. They really are the frontline leaders. They have the best intel on how the team is perceiving and reacting to what's going on. And that continuous open communication makes our staff nurses feel valued. And feeling valued is directly correlated to retention. So charge nurses can also help identify workplace incivility early. And unfortunately, with all the stressors that healthcare has been under in the last 2 years, we have seen workplace incivility, raise its ugly head. It's not uncommon nowadays across all healthcare organizations. And conflict is unavoidable and problematic. But our charge nurses, if they have strong conflict resolution skills, they're better able to deal with the challenges and reduce issues that stem for it. I personally, as the Director of Patient Experience, rely on our charge nurses to help problem solve patient communication and concern issues every single day. And those charge nurses who have strong conflict resolution skills and great communication skills are able to do it deftly. And those who need some work need more support from other leaders. They become less autonomous on the unit and able to deal with these things and really get to them at the beginning. So they sometimes can blossom into something much bigger if the charge nurse doesn't have the skills that would be wanted in that role model. Next slide. So this is a picture of some of our wonderful Overlake employees, and they are role models of positivity and professionalism. Our charge nurses must be role models of positivity and professionalism. They lead by example, and they always look for ways to help the team succeed. They are truly the cheerleaders of the units. And they encourage their teams to practice positivity and professionalism by showing initiative and by thriving under direction. But those are skills. Those are skills that when the pressure is on, you need to have tools to be able to fall back on. I think I see a hand up. So should I pause? Or do you want to take questions at the end? How would you like me to go?
Yeah, let's hold until the end, and
okay.
We can ask questions at the end. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Next slide. So our proposal, we are proposing that we are able to offer a charge nurse leadership fundamentals course it's from Catalyst Learning. The objectives of the course are that we are able to provide our charge nurses with strategies for making a smooth transition from staff nurse to a charge nurse position, because most of our charge nurses are grown from within. They happen to be a very strong bedside nurse who shows that potential for leadership, who is respected by her colleagues and by the providers who she works alongside or he works alongside. And they're promoted into the charge nurse position. And from there, we at Overlake really, really invest in wanting to see our internal leaders grow their careers with us. And how we do that is by investing in them, showing them that we believe in them and their career progression, and then making it happen with programs like this. This proposal from Catalyst Learning will allow us to create individual action plans to identify challenges and to maximize the opportunities faced in today's very complex hospital environment. But it also, so that's the sort of 40,000 foot view, but when you get down into it, it allows us to create individual and unit performance metrics and to be able to really key in on more of the 10,000 foot view so that we can customize it for what we need. The qualities for successful leadership are part of these fundamentals that will be offered. And then our charge nurses will also learn how to analyze the patient care and financial implications of HCAPS, of our hospital consumer assessment of healthcare provider systems, which is our HCAPS, which is our surveys. So we're talking about investing in 170 of our dedicated charge nurses. We will be able, with this proposal, to offer the Foundation of Leadership course to 170 frontline leaders. Those 170 frontline leaders will have a positive effect on staff, day, evening, night shift, all week long, and all of the patients that come through our doors. This program can be facilitated in a live or a virtual setting. And it will be taught by Overlake instructors who are also nurse leaders. They are charge nurses who have a talent for teaching this type of course. It provides 3.5%. I did percentages all day for Mike Marsh. I'm sorry, I was in statistics mode all day long. It provides 3.5 continuing education credits specifically for nurses, which is important to them when they are taking the time to take a course. It's offered as a 4-hour course at regular intervals throughout a 12-month period to accommodate the charge nurse schedules and our current staffing challenges. So we can flex this course so that it fits our needs. And that is really a key to why we chose this course and its structure to bring forward to you today. So just think about the number of staff, patients, and families that will benefit from this investment. It's like a pebble that you throw into a pond and it reverberates on and on and on. And that is the positive impact of this proposal. So this particular Catalyst Learning suite of courses allows us to build on each of the courses so that there are an additional 6 courses in the future that we could invest in to really create a very in-depth, comprehensive training for charge nurses at Overlake. Next slide, please. So the cost of the program is just under $30,000. That's to purchase it from Catalyst. Oh, I love this picture. This is Shelby Rowley from our West 4 unit and her team. All the pictures in this presentation are our real champions of Overlake. So I put them in there so you can enjoy them. It'll cost $24,000 of paid staff time, and there'll be roughly $2,000 of event expenses if we hold it live. That's a total of $55,053 to train 170 charge nurses in the leadership fundamentals. And again, I stress, the average turnover cost for one bedside nurse is between $37,000 and $58,000 and more for specialties such as the ED, the ICU, LD, L&D, and the OR. Next slide, please. So thank you for your time again and your interest and your willingness to consider this proposal. And again, as the next generation of philanthropists, I ask, will you help us invest in the next generation of leaders for Overlake? This is an investment in the future of healthcare for our communities. Thank you.
Wow, that was great.
I can't see all the hands, so I'm going to let you manage the hands, Alex. I'll answer the questions.
Alex, can I cut in front of the line? I just want to. I want to explain why the ask looks so high. This project was approved through our budgeting process, but I was asked to go back and see if I could come up with at least half of the money from somewhere else. And that's why our ask is for half of the 55 from you. And so I didn't want anybody to think that we were saying, oh, well, 25, what's 55? But we are, that's
for next year.
That's true. So just wanted to let you know that we do realize that the total is over 2 years, but it is a project that I did take through the budgeting process, and I've been asked to augment it in some fashion.
Thank you, Michelle.
Perfect. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, and you know, we do have Molly, do you want to talk a little bit about the caregiver advancement initiatives as well that is part of our future plans a little bit that could help supplement as well? You're on mute though.
Sorry. Yes, yeah, that we could work that through with. So we are also raising funds right now for caregiver advancement. And if this is the one chosen, we could make up whatever difference is needed from the pot this year. So we can go on to the next, to the other questions, but yeah, suffice it to say that don't worry about the cost when it comes to these projects should be viewed equally in terms of the costs and what we can afford, how we can make it happen.
Thank you, Molly. Any other questions for Tamara on Chief Retention Officers?
Well, thank you all very, very, very. Oh, I think there is a hand.
got a
Diana,
couple,
hi. Oh, good.
I was just curious, is it a license or is it only for 12 months or how does that work?
Right. It's a certificate of completion for the course. Thank you for asking. That's a great question. It's not a license and there aren't credentials for charge nurses. There's no nationally recognized credentialing process for charge nurses, but it is a certification of completion for the program.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. And Ben, I think you had your hand up as well.
Yeah, kind of had a similar question. Is it like a managerial position? Are they a lead now once they become a charge nurse? Or is it exactly what you just said? It's a certification that's kind of added to their list of credentials.
So I think the role itself is as a unit leader. So they are a unit leader in their role. This particular course will offer them a certificate of completion, as would the other ones, the other courses, the 6 that are available for future, based on our need. But it is not a requirement to have this education from a legal standpoint or in order to fill the role. But from a practical standpoint and from a retention standpoint, it really is a requirement to have these leadership tools and to have the knowledge and to have these fundamentals in your toolkit, because that is what's going to make you successful as a unit leader, and it's going to make your team successful. And that's why we chose to title it Chief Retention Officers, because we do believe that with the right tools and training, well-trained charge nurses will make the difference between staff leaving the profession and staff deciding to stay and staying with Overlake.
Great, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Michelle, you've got your hand up. Did you have something else that you wanted to add in?
Nope, I'm sorry, I didn't take it down.
Oh, no worries. If there aren't any other questions, we'll go on to the final presentation of the evening, which is coming from Melissa Ramirez, the nurse manager for our NICU here at Overlake. So I'll turn it over to you, Melissa, and put up the final presentation.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share our needs and your willingness to help support us. In the NICU, we care for some of the most fragile patients in the hospital, and we're always looking for ways to improve the care that we provide. Advances in neonatal care often lag behind our adult counterparts, and Icecat is one of those aspects. And so the Icecat is well been used in the adult realm for many, many years, more years than I probably have been around myself. But the technology has actually now reached the NICU setting. And so I'd like to share with you a little bit about the Icecat device and its abilities with our patient type. And so just monetary wise, you can go back one slide.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. For the Icecat actual analyzer and the accessories, we're looking at $12,828. And then for 1 year of disposable cartridges, and we would use the CH8 Plus, which entails electrolyte values, a blood gas analysis, and a hematocrit and hemoglobin, we're looking at approximately $7,800. Okay, thank you, Alex. Next slide. So the Abbott Icecat device, you can see the picture right there. It's a handheld blood analyzer that delivers lab quality diagnostic results in minutes at the patient's bedside. It's often referred to in our setting as point of care testing, basically because it's actually taking place at the point of care, which is the bedside. And why is this important in the NICU setting? And so for a variety of reasons, including a reduction in the volume of blood needed for the test itself, the ability to run this test quite quickly in minutes. The tests are run at the bedside by the registered nurse. And then the results being so immediate lead to immediate action. So we're able to act on any variations in lab results, whether that means respiratory status, perhaps needing a ventilator change, blood transfusion, so forth, and then overall decreases in length of stay. And next slide. So talking a bit about the reduction in volume of blood needed, if you think about our patient type, any neonate averages about 85 milliliters of blood per kilogram, which is about 3 ounces of blood for every kilogram. We care for patients in the NICU setting that often weigh less than 1 kilogram, which is less than about 2 pounds. These patients require very frequent blood sampling, as we are in need of just really continually regulating every aspect of their care, whether that is electrolytes with IV fluids, hematologic with their blood, red blood cell volumes, their blood pressure, so forth, and their overall respiratory status. Many of these patients are on ventilators and require frequent changes in those settings to help keep them just really in a normal picture. A blood sample sent to the lab to evaluate these, if we were to take a peek at electrolytes, blood gas, and an H&H, which is hematocrit and hemoglobin, it would require about a mil of blood in the lab setting versus only 0.1 mil of blood, so just a tenth of the amount of blood on the Icecat device. To kind of put that in perspective for you, a mil of blood would equate to about a quarter of a teaspoon or 20 drops of blood, whereas a tenth obviously would be less than a 16th of a teaspoon or just 2 drops of blood. And so we really do monitor blood in and blood out for our patient type. And so less blood out means less blood in, right? And so it reduces the amount of blood transfusions that our patients would need later on. And next slide. The fast results within minutes is very important. And so decisions need to be made very quickly at the bedside. Samples that are taken to the lab can take upwards of an hour to receive and often are in need of being recollected, just related to just normal issues with collection technique or equipment issues in the lab setting itself. With the Icecat, we have results ready at the bedside within minutes, and that really gives our providers the information they need immediately to make changes that the babies need immediately. And then, like I mentioned before, point of care testing is just that. We are able to really have lab quality testing at the bedside in the NICU run by our staff, quick results and quick ability to respond to patients' needs. And next slide. And so decreasing the need for blood transfusion is not only better for the babies, but it's actually better stewardship for our community as well. I'm sure that you have seen pleas for blood donations on the news and you know, probably everywhere, but really it helps us to be better stewards of our resources. And the ability to act quickly and make necessary changes to keep our patients stable results in decreases in wild swings in their homeostatic state, which overall decreases their risks of long-term and permanent deficiencies that can alter their abilities in childhood and as adults. So we have the ability really, you know, to have an enormous effect on the future state of our patients. And next slide. And then the NICU staff benefit. And so the ability to run tests immediately at the bedside decreases the amount of time it needs to collect and recollect blood samples. So many times our blood, collecting blood from a baby is, it's not easy. And so oftentimes when we are needing to collect, it's multiple, whether that's a stick, like meaning a heel stick for a capillary sample or a venous stick for a venous sample. These are not procedures that are benign. So they are painful for our patients, painful for our staff, and often require a lot of time to collect and recollect. And so with the Icecat, the 0.1 mil of blood can be collected either by capillary method or venous method, but the capillary method is just a minute puncture on the heel, and it's really, like I said, 2 drops of blood, which is so easy to obtain versus trying to collect upwards of a mil of blood, which trying to get that quantity of blood out of a baby, it can be quite difficult. The ability to make changes quickly to stabilize your patients, and then eliminates the time following up on results from lab, because the results actually print out on the Icecat. We're able to download into our electronic medical record almost immediately, and also print out a copy for our providers for reference. Overall, it just reduces the amount of frustrations for our team and our families. And next slide. And then any questions? I know mine's a little bit smaller of a presentation. That's because my patients are small. No? Okay.
Well, we've got one from Danielle. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a quick question. I know that, or I've heard accuracy can be an issue with these point of care devices for adults. Is that similar for neonates as well?
So with the Icecat device, they do monthly QCs on them to assure accuracy. We'll have reference ranges that are built in that will be built specifically for the neonatal population. And they are proven to be pretty accurate.
That's a great question. Any others for Melissa? Well, thank you for presenting this, Melissa. Having a NICU baby myself almost 2 years ago, I can uniquely attest to how important such point of care equipment is for taking care of our little ones. So thank you. If there aren't any other questions for any of the presenters, well, this is the time. If there's any lingering questions or anything came up for David or Tamara or Melissa, you know, throw your hand up and ask. We've got a few minutes. If not, you know, we've heard 3 fantastic and well-deserving projects tonight, but only one can be chosen. So I'll be putting a poll here in the chat. I practiced a couple times, but just while I take a minute to do it, Molly is going to, and that's where you can vote for whichever project you want to fund. And I'll tally them and announce the winner shortly. But while I do this, Molly is going to say a few words about some upcoming events that we have.
Sure, and happy to. And it's good to know that Ben is on call in case you need any coaching, Alex, on how to get that up. Ooh, look at there, it came. Wow, okay. Pretty not bad. So, you know, while you are voting, make sure that you cast your vote first, and not like when I lived in Chicago, vote early and vote often, right? But here we do one. So upcoming events, hopefully you guys are getting our Circle of Excellence announcements and invitations. We have on February 4th at noon, Dr. Ron Aviles, who will present on the future of Overlake's cardiac program, and currently what's happening and what's on the docket. Dave Winokur probably could also do that presentation, but we'll let Ron do it as the head of the doc, the director of the cardiology program here at Overlake. As you know, it's one of our most highly regarded, highly respected programs here, and very much on some cutting edge things happening and about to happen. So that should be pretty interesting. And then our Bandage Ball is coming up on May 7th. And as you all know, it's a bit of a, you know, we'll see, as we've all talked about COVID, we don't know whether we'll be live. We are hoping to be live this year. If not, it will be a good online experience that we'll build on last year, and which most of you, I think, did participate in. And so we're planning, you know, we have a go, no-go date coming up within the next month, and we will go from there and keep you posted. The beneficiary, though, is chosen and it's exciting. It is our team Overlake. It's all the heroes at Overlake who help produce the outcomes and the great care that our patients and community have been beneficiaries of. And the money will be used, that we raise that night, will be used to support our employees and and allow them to advance and stay at Overlake so that we can continue to care for our community. So a lot more to come, and you'll hear a lot more about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Molly. If everyone has gotten their votes in, Aaron, Ben, Alex, Danielle, Diana, Ian, Jim, Leah, Rochelle, Taylor, I'm
not seeing anything.
Oh, okay. So the chat function, if you show there's a little button for show conversation. There should be a poll on that pops up that asks which project do you want to fund this year?
It's just kind of spinning.
Oh no.
Taylor, if you want to text me or I'll email you, and you could shoot your answer back to me and I'll vote for you.
That's Danielle.
Yeah. Oh, that was Danielle. Sorry, I thought that was Taylor. Okay, Danielle.
Okay. Well, let's figure out a way to do that. If you want to email me or
okay,
let me know which one you want to do, I'll add it
you'll
to
do
the
that,
total.
Danielle. Okay, good.
Yep, that works.
Perfect.
So I've got that up. And we can play, someone can, do the Jeopardy music in the background to say which one. Let's see.
I was just doing that in my head, actually, Alex. I was like,
yeah, dun, 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 dun. That's right.
Well,
that's right.
As we were planning this, we're like, well, there's going to be some time, so I've got to, Molly can speak for a little bit, and if there's any extra time, maybe someone can do a little music or something.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Perfect. I love it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Danielle. I got yours.
Okay, and Alex, did you see that Leah Grimaldi's message? Did you get theirs? She's wanting to confirm that you got their vote.
Yes, I did.
Okay, great.
I did. Okay, perfect. So the winner of the second Pulse pitch night is the Nicu Icecat lab machine.
All
so,
right.
Woo, Melissa, congratulations. That's so exciting. Congratulations with that. Thank you for everyone for joining us and for investing in Pulse and in this great hospital. We would not be able to provide such world-class care for our community without your help and your generosity. Like Molly said, our next Circle of Excellence presentation is going to be February 4th with Rana Vilas, and we're excited for all of you to hopefully join, and congratulations all around to so many of you for things coming up, whether it's weddings or children coming, and hopefully some travel. We're just so excited and thankful and grateful for all of you. So thank you. Anyone, Molly, Andrew, Michelle, anyone want to say anything?
No, just that
I hope that maybe. Oh yeah, there you go. I was gonna say, I just hope that we can maybe this next year we'll be able to do it in person. That would be great. I think it adds a lot to the feel and the vibe, and we can have some hors d'oeuvres or some other things. So, but yeah, thank you everybody for being on this evening.
Yes, totally.
Well, between now and then, Andrew, you can figure out how to fund the other two projects.
Well, there's this line that we draw in the budget, you know, it's just, you know, we're trying to move that line up and down, right?
Thank you, everyone. It was
great.
such a pleasure. It was such a pleasure to meet you all, and you are doing such wonderful work, and we're so grateful for your support and your interest and your engagement. So thank you. It was nice to meet you all. I'll look forward to, what is that, at the 520? Is that what they said? Next year?
520 Bar and Grill, yeah.
Okay, that sounds right up my alley. I'm there.
Rumor has it there's a lot of nachos get ordered along with those beers. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sounds great.
Yes.
Take
yeah.
care, everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Thank